Good day, viewers, and welcome to 30 Minutes, our news and current affairs interaction program. I'm Manir Dan Ali, and with me today is Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, a businessman, politician, and a close ally of President Muhammadu Buhari through thick and thin. Honorable Farouk, welcome to this program.
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, good day.
Thank you very much. I don't know where to start. Probably before you became known as a politician, you are known as a serial entrepreneur who started with Hangout. You also, Hangout is a kind of restaurant that you had in Kano. You also went into the furniture business. And even as we speak now, you have a big farm in Birnin Kodu, that is your hometown, which does dairy, poultry, greenhouse, and what have you. What's the motivation for this serial entrepreneurship?
Okay, first things first, actually is the furniture first before the Hangout. Honestly, when I came back from studies, I went to school in eastern part of Europe, a country called Yugoslavia at that time. Now it's called Serbia. And I was working with Kano State government, actually Ministry of Education Works Department. I was in charge of water supply. One day I just got tired of working. I didn't know what to do because the work was monotonous, and sometimes you would just sit in the office, contractors come around, try to share money. So I thought that was not my calling, and I decided to leave. When I was leaving, I didn't know what to do. But I went to my chief engineer, was Engineer Badamasi Tahir. I told him I was leaving. And in appreciation of what I did, I was awarded a contract of 18,000 naira back in the days to build toilet block.
This was in the 1980s?
Yes, in the 80s, of course. I think 1984. And I sold that contract for 1,800 naira, 10%.
You didn't actually execute it?
I did not, because I didn't have the money to do it. That 1,800 naira was what I used to start roadside carpentry. I developed interest in carpentry. So we started from roadside carpenter, hitting nail on wood to make sense, to make a table and so on. And somewhere along the line also, General Daku,
The then military governor of Kano State.
Yes, Sokoto then.
Of Sokoto.
He was in Sokoto. He was transferred to Sokoto. No, from Kano he was transferred to Sokoto. I was introduced to him by late Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed. That time, General Daku asked me, if I give you this contract, would you execute it? I said, yes, sir. He said, okay, let me try you. He gave me a contract of 1 million naira back in the days.
Even when you had no track record of
Yes, I had no track record. He just said, let me just assure him that I was going to do it, to furnish the Sokoto Curtain Rest House that time. And that 1 million naira contract was what propelled me and two of my friends to buy a furniture factory, to lease a furniture factory called Setrat Nigeria Limited in Kano. And the rest is history. So we started from roadside carpenter to full-fledged. Now we are certainly one of the most modern furniture in the factory in this country.
You still do furniture?
Oh, absolutely. I still do.
Or do you import from elsewhere?
No.
No.
In fact,
because some of the furniture companies actually
I understand.
That's what they do.
We actually try. In fact, we appreciate Nigerian government, successive government, way back from Obasanjo to date, who has banned importation of furniture. All furnitures you see imported are smuggled. So the furniture industry in this country has really gone high standard. Now, then somewhere along the line, I also developed interest into catering services. Back in the days also, there was no like fast food joints in Kano. So I started a restaurant called Hangout Restaurant on Zoo Road, Kano. That time it was the first in Kano. So we had large clientele.
Is it still running?
No, it's not running. Actually, politics killed it.
Right.
When I joined politics, I couldn't manage that one, sadly.
And what made you to jump into politics? I mean, being purely a business person, someone
Exactly.
interested
Also, that one was one day I went to my hometown, Birnin Kudu. A gentleman approached me and said, look, people like you need to join politics. I said, why? He said, people that have things to do. Before that time, I see politicians as rogues, politicians as game of dirty persons or people who have nothing to do. He said,
but you now got to join them.
Well, yes, we're coming into that. So I joined politics back in the days. It was APP running in my state under Saminu Turaki. So I joined. But I joined purposely with intention to run for election. Because the only way you could make difference is if you join government.
And you actually contested and won in 2003 as a member of
House
the
of
House
Reps.
of Representatives.
Yes, so luckily for me, I joined the APP, which transformed to AMPP, and I won the election. We went into the House of Reps. God knows what we did. In the House, I got to be chairman House Committee on Population when the census took place in 2006. And that's the only authentic census we still have in this country. And
well, there are plans for a fresh census in the coming year.
I know exactly, and I'm proud to associate myself with that 2006. President Obasanjo did very well. In fact, I commend him because there was one thing Obasanjo did. When we went on a courtesy call on him, he said, look, I as president don't want to be the first to know the result of the census. So there was no intervention at all by the presidency of that time. So it was clean, clear, and in 2006 we had the census in this country.
Some will be surprised to hear you saying this, given the way you've been so fanatically opposed to Obasanjo.
Yes,
but you are giving him
but actually, yes, you have to say the truth. I always align by the truth, So whatever Obasanjo did well, I commend him for that, and you can also not take away the fact that Obasanjo is a true Nigerian, and I still give him respect to that. Other things, are different.
But other things like third term, which
exactly,
opposed.
which I fought tooth and nail. So then I also became minority leader in the House of Reps, which propelled me to probably what I am today in politics, because it exposed me to opposition in government. What is opposition? I got to know that you don't have to be part of ruling party to contribute to your quota, and we did that. We brought the government to stand still that time, which unfortunately the opposition parties can't do now. I wonder
so
what they're doing.
Is it a plus or minus? Maybe your government, the government you helped to bring the Buhari government is so overpowered, and that is why the opposition isn't as vibrant as in your own time?
No. I think honestly, most of them are selfish, and also the opposition parties still have not woken up from the dream, because they're still, I think, sleeping and dreaming that how come we lost power. So they still can't see themselves as opposition. That's why you see most of them leaving, their party to join. I'm not impressed at all to see anybody cross-carpeting from one party to another, because you need to believe in something. So there is no opposition in this country, honestly, and it is not helping the polity. It's not helping the politics.
But still, even your own party is kind of proud, is happy to have this kind of setup, which is why it welcomes people like even Femi Fani-Kayode, one of those who was very critical of your position, into your party.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Now you have to sit
I understand.
on the table with
I'm telling you
like
my own personal opinion. I am not impressed personally. At the party level, yes, maybe. But personally, I'm not, because to me, those are people without conscience, people that probably do not do this thing because they believe in the system. Because look, you don't have to be in the ruling party to contribute your quota at all. In fact, if you are vibrant in opposition, you will checkmate the ruling government to ensure they do the right thing. Because look, party comes, party goes. The country remains. Election comes and goes. So the country remains, and we are Nigerians, which means whatever you will do to make sure this country is better, where you are, is good. So, and we stayed in opposition. We are in government now. Now we are getting the brunt of also being in government. But as I said, I think the opposition party really need to get their acts together to keep opposing us in the right way.
What was the right way in which you opposed the then ruling party, the governments of Obasanjo and later even Jonathan and Umaru Yar'Adua?
Okay, the right way was to be consistent. Consistent in such a way, now like with Obasanjo, we started with the third term issue. You know, he was a leader who a lot of people rallied round to bring to power. And then the same Obasanjo that could be called a nationalist, all of a sudden wanting to change the constitution of this country for his own purpose. So being in opposition is to ensure that doesn't happen. Monies were distributed, were shared. Some took monies, but thank God it didn't work. So in that regards, see the money, don't take the money, keep opposing. And if you're lucky, you get lucky. And we got lucky. We made sure Obasanjo didn't continue. Also, what policies do government do that you need to checkmate? You find out that when we were in opposition, like, let me come to like the fuel hike.
Yeah.
We demonstrated against fuel hike. We didn't want it to happen for so many reasons. One, because the government of that day was not being accountable to the people. And people are scared, where will the money go to? So we got scared. And we opposed, no matter the carrot they gave extended to us, we didn't allow them to do it.
But all this sounds like the current script of your government, of your party that wants to increase or deregulate the prices of petroleum, talking of maybe liters selling at well over 300 and then coming with the carrot of saying they will give 5,000 naira to vulnerable people, and which people are opposed to, but it doesn't appear as if the government is listening or is going to change its ways.
Well, in any case, it has not taken place yet. And then that's the beauty of democracy. Now, the kite has been thrown, and people are putting their input, giving their input, with their pros and cons, opposing and some supporting and so on. But at the end of the day, the government is going to make a decision. And that decision, it will be to the best interest of the country, in our view. And then look, also in politics, if anything that any government does and the people don't agree, you vote that government out. Simple. Without having to fight, without having to, brigandage, insult, and so on. Like we fought the previous government on so many things, and we won election. Now we expect the other party to also challenge us in so many of the things that we said we're going to do. Probably we failed to do, or we didn't do it rightly, and so on. So that is democracy. As I said, you find out that, look, this country will remain. PDP, APC, or any other party are parties. But this country belongs to all of us. And nobody has the monopoly of wisdom or knowledge. APC is not better than PDP, or PDP is not better than APC, but the personalities. Who are the people driving these institutions?
Let me take you back to this issue of the current opposition being weak and probably the National Assembly being weak, because many have said the National Assembly, the current one, is like a rubber stamp. You find that today President Buhari will propose that he wants to take $10 billion loan. Within a short time, it gets approved. Then 2 weeks later, another request for another loan. And many Nigerians, even ordinary people, are quite concerned at the level of indebtedness that Nigeria is being run into. Isn't it a self-indictment? Is your party that is even in the majority, but it appears to just be in bed with the executive and not maybe concerned about what truly is the national interest? Well,
you see, what you are saying is subjective, because the people should make judgment. If all these things that we are doing now is not in consonance with the Nigerian people, elections are around the corner. Let them vote us out. Absolutely. Without having to break the country or without having to insult one another. Let's talk about issues. Why are we borrowing money? We are borrowing money for so many reasons. You find out that this is the first time in this country that a government has seriously put infrastructure into come into place. And this is also the first government in this country that comes to complete projects that were started by previous governments. How do you do these things? You need to borrow because we don't have enough resources. That's the truth. So if all these things that we're doing, Nigerian public are not satisfied, as I said, let them vote APC out. And that's it's not going to be the end of the world.
So the only choice, the only option that Nigerians have is to wait for the next election and then chuck you out.
Okay, but how else we're practicing democracy?
What I mean is,
what I'm saying,
you can't take the views of people
of course we are,
consideration when you are the sitting government.
But of course we are doing. That's why, when you spoke about the fuel subsidy, we are, as government, we are hearing the views of people and we are analyzing. By the time this change is going to be made, I assure you, it will be to the in the best interest of this country, in our own view. But if that our own view is not in consonance with Nigerian people, now we're not telling they shouldn't continue to oppose, to probably be on the street the way we were, and so on, until we probably hear what they want. That's in case we do not do what some people want. But then that's democracy. But then let us not fight on the street. Let us not shut the country. Let us not do anything that will...
But all this more or less happened when you are in the opposition.
No, but what did we do? We didn't shut down the country. We were on the street.
No, you encouraged the labor unions to shut down the country.
No. We were on the street demonstrating. In fact, pictures are all over the place. Myself, the president, May Malabuni, Ogbonnaya Onu, former chairman of APC, on the street demonstrating against fuel hike. That's true. So, but that was democratic also. The government of that day also didn't stop us. And we're not stopping anybody from, in a civilized manner to demonstrate against anything, because the constitution of this country guarantees Nigerians to demonstrate. That's what we're saying. But then the ultimate goal, I said election is around the corner. Anything that we do, let us start discussing things. Let us start campaigning based on issues. What is APC doing different from PDP? Why should people continue to trust us? And remember, we won election in 2015 and we were voted again in 2019, which means somewhere along the line, even though the votes reduced, which means, yes, there were some people who were disappointed in us. And we've taken that into cognizance. That's why we're trying to make amends, to ensure in 2023 that we correct all those mistakes that we have made and those that we're still making.
Very good. I think on that note, we'll go on a short break. And when we resume, we'll take up this challenge of Honorable Adamu Aliyu regarding the coming election. What options will it bring for Nigerians, and where do their parties stand in terms of who their candidate could be and all that? Viewers, welcome back to 30 Minutes, the interactive discussion program with important personalities of Trust Television. I have with me today Honorable Adamu Aliyu, a former member of the Nigerian House of Representatives, indeed a minority leader, a close ally of the president, and before that, a businessman is in his own right. Honorable Adamu, if we resume where we left before the break, you seem to be placing so much store on the coming election that this is one chance for Nigerian voters to show their displeasure or satisfaction with the policies of the current government. But incidentally, the well-known face of the government, that is President Buhari, will not be a candidate, or is he going to eat his word and want to contest again?
Okay, one, let me assure Nigerians that President Muhammadu Buhari will be finishing his tenure come May 29th, 2023, and he shall not seek to be elected because it is unconstitutional, and he will not be a party in trying to amend the constitution for personal gain. So he will certainly not. We will not support him to do that, and we know he will not do that. So that's put aside. Certainly he will not be on the ballot. Yes.
So is he and you, his close allies, are you concerned about what his legacy could be? Because here is a president who promised so much and in the opinion of so many delivered so little.
Yes, we are really concerned that there are some things that we probably assumed wrongly. let me concede and accept that, honestly, before we came in, there were certain assumptions that we didn't know. There are certain assumptions certainly we got wrong. Like the fuel subsidy of a thing. You know, before we came in, first of all, we didn't believe that the expenditure was that big, on the public treasury.
Actually, President Buhari then used to say that it's all some fiction.
Exactly.
Some of the corruption that he always speaks about.
Yeah, yes.
And then now he's singing a different tune.
Yes, you see, Buhari is not infallible. Buhari is a person, a human being like you and I. So, as I said, there were certain assumptions that we didn't know as human beings. When we got in, we found out that, yes, that the balance sheet of this country can ill afford this subsidy. Ill afford. Which means, because you find out that most of the petroleum products being imported into this country, probably half of it end up in neighboring countries because of the unpatriotic, nature of Nigerians, some Nigerians.
And the president hasn't been able to fix the problem of the refineries. It's now at the tail end of his government that we hear talk of spending some billions of dollars to try to fix what earlier many have said are unfixable.
Yes, from the beginning, honestly, we also thought these refineries could be fixed easily. We found out that the refineries were obsolete also. So many things that, remember this thing we had done even when he was Minister of Petroleum Resources 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
But why is his government wanting to spend some billions on the same refineries?
Yes, because also technology has brought new innovation, that there are certain aspects of the refinery that could be modernized. And that is what is being done. And this government is not insensitive. What I'm saying is, that's why they talk about subsidy and so on. I want Nigerians to give us a chance to wait until next year to see whether the 360, the NNPC are talking and so on. Based on their calculation, yes, it may cost that much. But then...
And what happens if the price of oil rises further? Because we are talking of oil only at about 70-something, 80. If it reaches 100, which is the kind of figure that the president salivates about and accuses the previous government of reaping without
we will cross the bridge when we get there. As of today, it's not $100 yet. So, but our assumptions are based on the current price and what we think it will be, in the next next couple of months. And remember also in all these calculations, unfortunately for us as a government also, like most especially the second time that we came, this COVID of a thing that some people don't think is anything. It has affected nations. And Nigeria is not an island. Nigeria also is, is bearing the brunt of this. So many things that, as I said, we didn't know of while we're in opposition. And you see, Matthew, let me also tell you.
But what of the first time when you had solid 4 years with no COVID?
Yes, okay, those 4 years, as I said, when we came in, we also found out that, look, let's when we're talking about fighting against corruption and so on, we didn't know the situation was that bad. And when we got in, we found out that the monumental corruption that took place was so huge that it was nothing that you could just settle in one day, at a time. So that was why I can understand, I can also concede that we probably wasted a lot of time in trying to dig out those corrupt issues and so on and so forth. In fact, at one time, Mr. President said, look, let's just draw the line and continue.
But has the corruption stopped under his watch?
No, it has not. It has not. But the difference is that this time, you cannot discuss corruption on the table. Back in the days, you discuss and share corruption on the table.
But what difference does it make? Whether you discuss it openly or underground,
yes, the difference,
at the end of the day, you still have the same damage, take away so much resources from the economy.
Yeah, the difference is that time, everywhere you can go and discuss it. This time around, as I said, because look, we're still Nigerians. You do it with fear. You know if you are caught, you will not be spared. And I assure you that the level of corruption now is not as bad as back in the days.
So
I'm not telling you there is no corruption now. No, there is still corruption.
If there is still corruption, and there may have been cases that must have come to the attention of the president, how come nothing appears to have been done? We haven't heard of people being sacked and hauled before the courts and jailed.
No. That's your opinion. It's very subjective. You know, so many people are under investigation now.
Current office holders.
Absolutely. And you look.
And when are they going to be?
Yeah,
to have their day in court?
It takes time. You could see. Let me give you an example. Oji Uzokalu, who was a governor who left government probably 8 years ago. Now his case could not happen until this time around because of the slow nature of prosecution of corrupt cases. That was why this government came about the Administration of Justice Act.